What is up, all my geeks and gamers? TechGeek1019 here, coming at you with the fourth part of the Dimension tutorial. Today we will be continuing our teleporter class. So, last time we left off, we started our place an existing portal method here, and we will be continuing that. So, we had an if statement right here, and we will go from here with an else statement for that if statement. And the else will say, we'll have a for loop in it, and it'll be for L3, it'll equal L minus short 1, and if you look up here, L is our X position, and short 1 is 128. So that is what we have there. And then L3 will be less than or equal to 1, so it'll check if it's less than or equal to 1, plus 128. And then we will have plus L3. So it'll keep going. And it'll run it again. Okay? Then, for loop, we will have a double. D4 will equal double L3 plus 0.5d minus entity dot pos x. There we are. And there you go for that. So for L being L3 being L minus short 1, and L3 being less than or equal to 1 plus 128, we will have a double that will be L3, which we defined up here, plus 0.5 minus the X position. So that is what that means right there. And then we will have another for loop. For integer L1, it will be equal to I1 minus short 1. So this looks like we are setting up our Z position here, is what it appears to me. Or something having to do with the Z, because as you can see up there, I1 is our Z position. And then we have L1 is less than or equal to I1 plus short 1, which is 128, and then plus I1. Or L1, right? Yeah, L1. Sorry about that. Inside of this for loop, we will have another double, this one being D5, and this time it'll be a double of L1, obviously, and it'll be less than, oh, no, my bad, plus 0.5d again, and then minus the entity's Z position. Okay, there you go with that. And then we will have another for loop, and I would assume that this is for the height. Yes, it is. Integer I2 is going to equal this dot world server instance dot get actual height, so this is the height, which is the y, minus 1, and I2 being greater than or equal to 0, because obviously you want the elevation to be more than 0, and minus 2. I2. Sorry. Inside of this for loop, we're going to have an if statement, and it's going to be if this dot world server instance dot get block, there you are, block L3, I2, and L1 equals our portal block. What did we have? Sapphire portal. Our portal block. So if the block at the X, what is that? Let's see. At the L3, what did we set that? That was the X thing that we had up here. And then the Z, which we had up here as well. Or that is here, the Y and the Z. These certain X, Y, and Z's are our portal block. Then obviously you want to do something with that. So inside of our if statement, we'll have while. So it's going to be if that while our world server instance dot get block is L3 and I2 minus 1, so below the thing, as well as L1 again, and as long as it equals the same thing that we had up here. So as long as the block that we are looking at, and while the block below that one, then we're going to have minus minus I2. Okay? And then we are going to go outside of this while loop and go back into our if. So if that happens, we're going to set D7 equal to a double of I2 plus 0.5D, as we did before, minus the Y position. So we've done all the positions so far. And we're going to have another double D8. And that is going to be D4 times D4 plus D7 times D7 plus D5 times D5. So if we look at this closely, D4 is our L3 plus 0.5 minus our X, so that we're multiplying those two together, plus D7 and D7, which is, D7 is what we declared up here, the Y, and D5 and D5, which is our Z coordinate. So outside of that, we're going to have if D3 is less than 0.0D, or D8 is less than D3, then D3 is going to equal D8, which we declared up there, and I is going to equal L3, which was that Y, so I is now, this is our integer before, that equaled 0, J is going to equal I2, and K is going to equal L1. So basically what we just did there is we set up a bunch of coordinates for this thing to go and check so that it can place an existing portal. So it's checking our player's coordinates so that it knows basically where to put the portal when you go through the other side. So that's basically what that's doing. So we will now go out actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Almost to the return false. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, outside of this. So right here. If D3 is less than or equal to 0.0, so if it's less than or equal to 0, and if the flag that we declared, I believe, earlier, where was that? Yes, the flag is false, so if it is false, then this dot destination coordinate cache dot add J1, and that is going to be a new teleporter sapphire dot portal position. Did I not declare portal position? Position. And the portal position is going to be I, J, and K, which we just set up, as well as the world server instance and the world time. get total world time. Okay, there you go with that. So that's good. So if it's false and D3 is greater than or equal to 0, then we're going to add a new portal position on the X, Y, and Z, is what it's saying there. And then we're going to also add a destination coordinate key with a long value of J1. So that is setting up our key to the other one. And we're going to system dot out dot print ln we're going to print out the location plus J1. Okay, I'm going to have that print out. Okay, then outside of this one, we have, I know this is a lot of math, a lot of coordinates and stuff like that. We're getting close to the end of this class, so hang in there with me. Okay, so we'll have a double D11, and it is going to equal double, I spelled double wrong, double I plus 0.5, so that's our X, and then double D6 is going to be a double of J, which I believe was the Y, plus 0.5, and D7 is now going to equal a double of the Z and 0.5. Okay, that's what we have there, and we're going to set integer I4 equal to -1 for right now. Okay, so sounds good so far. We're going to have a bunch of if statements here now. If this, now this is where the stuff that we had earlier in these tutorials went into play. It is going to be checking for a bunch of stuff, and I will explain it once I finish this one. So this is I minus 1, J, and K, and it is going to check if it's equal to our portal block, obviously, and that is going to set I4 equal to 2. Okay, so I minus 1, that would be the block to the left. Okay, so that is the block to the left, and it is going to set I4 equal to 2. Okay, then we'll have another one, and I'm actually going to copy this entire if statement. Oh shoot. Copy this entire if statement and actually paste it a couple times. 1, 2, 3, so that we have 4 if statements. And we're just going to change this to +1, so that is to the right. And then we're going to get rid of that and add it onto the end of K. So that's the Z, and I, and K plus 1. And that is all going to check the positions. This is going to equal 0, this is going to equal 3, and this is going to equal 1. And that is that. So basically it's checking that all of these positions, to the left, to the right, to the back, to the front, are portal. So it's checking that. And then we're going to set an integer of J2 equal to entity dot get teleport direction. So this is it's checking that is going to be the direction that you are facing, so backwards, forwards, so that it knows where to place you when you come out of the portal. And then we're going to have another if statement that if I4 is less than -1, which really wouldn't happen since which is when it's regular. So when it's not one of those blocks, basically, there are going to be a couple things, and this is all going to deal with the rotation of your player. So it's going to set integer k2 equal to the direction dot rotate left. So this must be and then a parameter of i4, an array of i4, my bad. So I guess that's basically rotating you, so like you go in to the portal facing the one way, then that's not facing towards the portal, then it's going to turn you, basically. And then we're going to have another integer that is L2, and this is going to be the direction dot offset x, and it is a i4 parameter. And integer i3 is going to equal the direction dot offset z of i4. And integer k3 is going to j3 from whoops. Integer j3 is going to be the direction dot offset x, but this time for k2. Where did I declare k2? Not exactly sure. I must have declared it earlier. And then integer k3 is going to be the same thing as this one, except for k2. Okay? Okay. And we're also going to set boolean flag1 equal to, if the world server, if it doesn't equal the world, if flag1 equals not, this world servers dot is air block at I plus L2 plus J3 and J, just J, because that's a Y, and K plus I3 plus K3, so this is adding together all of the coordinates and rotations at this point, or is not this dot world server instance is air block again, and this time it is at I plus L2 plus J3, and we'll go back and look at this stuff over again, obviously. And this is going to be J plus 1, so the Y plus 1, as well as K plus I3 plus K3. So much math, right, guys? Yay for math! Woo! Okay, and then we're gonna have another boolean that's also flag 2. And it's going to equal just about the same thing, except it looks like we're getting rid of K3, so the offset of Z at K2. So I'm just gonna copy this guy, and we are going to go like that, and we're just going to get rid of the K3s here. Everything else appears to stay the same. Okay. Now, excuse me, we're going to have an if statement that will deal with the flags. So if you have flag 1 and flag 2 at the same time, here comes more directions, then it is going to be I4 is now going to be equal to the direction dot rotate opposite of I4. Okay? And then K2 is now going to be the direction dot rotate opposite of K2. Okay? And then L2 is now going to be equal to the direction dot offset X, and that is going to be I4 And I3 is now going to be equal to the direction dot offset z of I4. And then we can actually copy these two, because we're going to just use it but with different variables. And this is going to be J3, and this is going to be K3. And under K3, we are going to have L3 is now going to equal I minus J3. So I minus, which I was the X, minus the offset of the X. D11 is not going to is going to be less than not equal to double J3, and integer K1 is going to be equal to K minus K3, so our Z minus the offset of the Z. Oh, I forgot to change these. These are K2s. Okay. And what else do we have? D7 is not going to be equal to... I did it the other way. Not equal to double of K3. And flag 1 is now going to be equal to the same things that we had up there, I believe. Let me just make sure. Yeah, the same things as these. So the two flags are still gonna happen. So the flags are still gonna be equal to the same thing. What? Flag 1-1? Why? What did I have? Wait, what? Why was I allowed to do it there? Are they different? I don't... Oh, no booleans. No booleans. Sorry. Just because we already set that they're a boolean up there. So this is flag 1 and flag 2 are still going to be equal to this. Outside of this, we're going to have float f1 is going to be equal to 0.5 f. And float f2 is also going to be 0.5 f. Okay? Alright guys, we are back. Sorry about that. XSplit bugged out a little bit. But that's no matter. Let us just continue on. If not flag 1 and flag 2, not flag, then f1, which our float was earlier, is going to be 1.0f. We are going to then have another if statement. If flag 1 and not flag 2, then f1 is going to equal 0.0f. Pretty standard. Also, oh, these are supposed to be else ifs. So this is an else if flag 1 and 2 are true, then f2 actually is going to also be equal to 0.0f. And this is supposed to be an else if. Whoa, what happened to my keyboard? It just like got stuck on the S. Okay, that is what we have there. And then down here we have D11 plus equals a double float, that is J3 times F1 plus F2 times a float of L2. And D7 is now going to plus equal a double of, again, a float of k3 times f1 plus f2 times a float of I3. Okay, and then we're going to have a couple new floats. Float f3 is going to equal 0.0f. Float f4, they're all going to actually equal the same thing, so I could actually just copy paste this one. 1, 2, 3. This is going to be 4, 5, and 6. So, we have a couple more if statements. If I4 is equal to J2, then F3 will now equal 1, and F4 will also equal 1. Else if I4 equals the direction that rotate opposite of J2, the opposite rotation of J2, then F3 will equal negative 1.0f, and so will F4. And then another else if, that should be, geez, what are they? Else if. Then another else if, that if I4 again equals the direction dot this time rotate right, the rotation to the right of J2, then F5 will equal 1.0, and F6 will equal negative 1.0. And then, else F5 will equal negative 1, and F6 will equal 1 instead. Okay, and that's how we do that. A couple more lines here. Outside of this else, we have a couple doubles. That is D9, and that'll equal the motion of the X, of the entity, so the motion towards the X, as well as a double of D10, which is going to equal the entity motion towards the Z, which is backwards and forwards. And then we're going to have entity dot motion X is going to equal D9 times a double of F3 plus D10 times a double of F6, which F6 was 0.0. Okay, and then same thing with the Z, except instead, I'm just going to copy this to save time. Instead, it is going to be the motion of the Z. This is still going to be D9. And the double will be for F5 instead, and for F4 at the end. And then we're going to have the entity's rotation yaw, and that is going to equal the entity, not the entity. What's 8 on my code? Sorry about this, guys. What is this? I set this equal to, oh, it's a float. What did I call it in this? I called it just part 8. Okay. It is going to equal part 8. Let me go back down to where we were. It is going to equal part 8 minus a float of J2 times 90, so that's like 90 degrees, I would assume, plus a float of I4 also times 90 degrees again, I would assume. And then we're going to, outside of this bracket, have another else. And this else is going to be the motion of the x is going to equal the entity's motion on the y, as well as the entity's motion on the z, which is going to all equal 0, because you don't want it to move anywhere. And then outside of that, we're going to have the entity dot set location and angles is going to be D11, D6, D7, the entity dot rotation yaw, as well as the entity's rotation pitch. And these are all going to return true. And then another else. I spelled else wrong. And then else, we are going to return false. And so that'll go there instead. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is one part of this. This is our place in existing portal. So all of this, which I messed up there, all of this is going to tell the game where to put you if you go through the portal and there's a portal on the other side. So it's going to check for its coordinates. It's going to check for your coordinates. If you're near it, then it is going to put you in that portal because you are in the same place. Now, I believe, so we're done with that for now. I believe I had something that I wanted to add in here that I messed up. Maybe not. I feel like I did. I messed up on something in here as I was reading my code the other day. I realized that I had messed something up, but I guess I did not then. So, yeah, I guess everything's all good. And the hood. Okay? So there you go, guys. There is the place an existing portal in our teleporter class. And we have a couple more, like one more really, really, really long method that we have to do, basically. And then a couple short ones, and we'll be done with this class. But for right now, I'd like to thank you guys so much for watching. I'm sorry it took me so long to put out this part. School had really limited me, and there was a lot of schoolwork and stuff, so I'm really sorry. As I mentioned in the beginning of the video, I have Amazon referral links that really helps me out. So if you guys ever want some computer items, just use my links and it'll help support me. Also, you may have noticed that little eye in the top right corner of your screen, and it is fan support. If you guys want to donate to me to keep the content alive and help me make better content even, then you can donate a few bucks to me. It's not necessary, but if you want to be, if you're feeling generous, then go ahead, donate to me. I'm really appreciative, and thank you guys so much. So, once again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace!